Hey everyone, it's time again to talk about Dry, which is basically a video where we compare the Defiance funds versus the Roundhill funds with a little bit of fun with YieldMax as well. So if you're new to this series, basically we've been tracking Defiance versus Roundhill since October 4th of this year. And obviously we also compare them to the appropriate indexes that they trade on, because these funds are very similar in that they do options on a daily basis. Roundhill, for example, they do 0 DTE, so they trade options in the same day. Defiance is allowed to do that, but typically they trade across days, so they do, get the overnight premium during that cycle. But they do lose out on a lot of upside from, after hours and pre-market hours. And that's something that, we need to consider when reviewing the funds. And then, of course, we add YMAX and YMAG, which are the fund of funds for YieldMax. And, we add them to the comparison. Why? Because they also pay weekly. So that's what they have in common with these funds. And people tend to compare the funds that, are kind of doing the same thing. So I figured I'd throw them to the mix. Well, mainly because a subscriber or many subscribers requested it. So anyway, let's get to it. So we left off in the blue. So we cut off at 11/29 and then we had a fresh week, right? So let's start off with the Monday. Monday will reflect the Saturday. That's just how it is on Google Sheets. So don't be confused. So Monday, we're showing the Nasdaq went up 1.12%. QQQY, which again, that's a Defiance fund. It trades on the Nasdaq. They went up 0.33%. So a little weak sauce there. And then QDTE, it did beat QQQY. It went up 0.73%. However, it did not beat the index. So QDTE is the winner per that day. So again, we compare the winners each and every day based on price movement alone, and that's it. And we compare it to the index, and then we could basically get an idea, okay, how do these funds react in this market? How do these funds react in that market? It's just an easy way to do it, honestly. Looking at the trades every day, comparing, how much in the money, out of the money. I mean, that's a lot of work. This kind of simplifies it for me, probably, and for you guys. Obviously, if you want the detailed analysis, that's another story. I used to do it on Defiance, at least, years ago. Not years ago, maybe 2 years ago. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. So the next day, Tuesday, the Nasdaq went up 0.31%. QQQY captured that and more. It went up 0.39%. And for whatever reason, QDTE only went up 0.21%. So QQQY took the win right there. And then the next day, another big day for the Nasdaq. It went up 1.24%. And QQQY, unfortunately, only captured 0.45%. What are you doing? And then QDTE captured 0.93%. Neither beat the index, but QDTE did beat QQQY, and that's what matters right now, right? All right, next day, the Nasdaq went down finally. It went down 0.31%. Again, that same day was ex-dividend date, but we're ignoring the drop in the distribution, right? We take that out when we compare the change. So in doing so, QQQY went down 0.09%. QDTE went down 0.17%. So QQQY for the win. So it's interesting to look at. We had a 0.31% gain on 12/3, and then we had a 0.31% decline on 12/5. On both days, QQQY did take the win. So let's take note of that. Okay, so on small change days, Defiance typically does better than the Roundhill. All right, last day. Obviously, Nasdaq went up pretty big, compared to the 0.31. It went up 0.92%. So here again, let's see. Nasdaq goes up 0.92. QQQY only goes up 0.33. So, that's a problem. That's a small, almost a third of what the Nasdaq did. QDTE also did not capture what Nasdaq did, but at least it went up 0.67%. So QDTE did take the win. So 3 wins for QDTE and 2 wins for QQQY. So on that note, Roundhill took the notch. Let me see if I can lower the heat in this car. All right, there you go. Okay, that's better. All right, sorry about that. I'm recording in the car today. It's afternoon, a little loud in the house. All right, so up next to compare are the S&P 500 funds. So what we do here is we compare the S&P index to WDTE, which is the Defiance fund, and XDTE, which is the Roundhill fund. So let's get to it. All right, Monday, S&P went up 0.24%. WDTE went up 0.17%. XDTE went up 0.55%. So great job, XDTE. You whooped that ass. You whooped both asses. So you take the win. You deserve that one. All right, up next day, Tuesday. All right, S&P, a little jump. It only went up 0.05%. So again, small days, you would expect Defiance to win. Let's see. Defiance went up 0.10%. WDTE went up 0.10%. XDTE went down, actually, down 0.04%. That's unusual. So WDTE did take the win. So again, as expected, a small movement. All right, now we have a movement of increase. S&P went up 0.61%. WDTE only captured 0.29%. XDTE captured 0.68%. So XDTE whooping that ass again. You know, it beat the index. It beat WDTE. So good job. Up next, ex-dividend date, the index went down 0.19%. Okay, what did WDTE do? It went up 0.03%. Good job. All right, now we talking. XDTE went down 0.23%. So WDTE with the win. Last but not least, on the Friday, the S&P went up 0.25%, and WDTE went up 0.36%. All right. And then XDTE went up 0.41%. So again, another interesting day. You know, you can't really call that a big increase, but again, it's enough of an increase where it reflects that Roundhill took the win. Because again, Roundhill, they close out their options before the day ends. So any after hours and pre-market activity, they're getting that. All right, they are getting that. So you know, that's why they're doing, you know, pretty decent on, you know, higher upside days. If you're wondering why I'm reading line by line, FYI, a lot of people who listen to my channel, they listen to the car on the go. They listen while they're running, you know, so shout out to those guys. You know, I'm looking out for them as well. I know some of you do watch it, and I appreciate that. So it may get annoying when I read line by line, but again, we have to appreciate the people who are just listening as well. So we have to create the visual for the audio only listeners. All right, so let's move on to the Russell. Let's go. All right, so what we have here is the Russell index, and we compare it to IWMY, which is obviously Defiance, and then RDTE, which is obviously Roundhill. All right, let's go. Monday. All right, the Russell went down 0.03%. What would you expect? You'd expect, and again, I didn't look at these, Defiance to win. All right, IWMY went up 0.37%. RDTE went up 0.09%. So as expected, IWMY took the win. All right, Tuesday, big drop here, big drop. Russell went down 0.73%. IWMY went down 0.49%. RDTE went down 0.7%. So IWMY with the wins. So again, the consistent factor that I am noticing, very small change days, up or down, Defiance will win. You know, big declines, Defiance typically would win. Big inclines, Roundhill nearly always wins. And, you know, it's those big inclines where it matters, right? Because when we look at total return for a longer period, Roundhill does look better. But if we do have a period of a lot of small movements here and there, then obviously Defiance does look like the better option. Okay, let's go to the next day. The next day, the Russell went up 0.42%. All right, IWMY beat the Russell. It beat it by 0.01%. Good job. And then RDTE went up even more. It went up 0.58%. So good job, RDTE, for the win. But unfortunately, RDTE, that will be the only win that you're getting this week, because on ex-dividend date, the Russell went down. Oh, my God. It went down 1.25%. Wow. IWMY went down with it. It went down 0.92%, but RDTE went down with it more. In fact, it went down with it dollar per dollar. It went down 1.25%. So, who won? IWMY, of course. All right. And then the last day, Friday, the Russell went back up a little, went back, 0.5%, 0.54. IWMY captured that and more. It captured 0.62%. And RDTE captured exactly 0.54%. Look at that. So it's tracking the index. All right, IWMY for the win, though. So 4 wins for IWMY and 1 win for RDTE. So to recap, that was the only win for Defiance because XDTE won, 3 versus 2, and QDTE won 3 versus 2. But IWMY more decisive, 4 versus 1. All right, now we can move on to YMAX and YMAG, and we compare YMAX versus YMAG. Why? Well, who else are we going to compare them to? Okay, anyway, Monday, YMAX went up 1.38%. Good God, you love it. YMAG went up 1.34%. I mean, YMAX took the win, but you got to love it for either one. And then Tuesday, YMAX went up 0.38%. YMAG said, you know what? I got this for you. I'm going up 0.71%. So YMAG for the win. And then on the Wednesday, oh my God, YMAX went up 1.14%. So YMAG, you only went up 0.76%, but at least you went up. YMAX for the win again, 2-1. All right, ex-dividend day, what do we got? Oh no, YMAX went down 0.07%. YMAG went up 0.49%. So YMAG for the win. 2-2, baby. Who's going to win? All right, Friday. YMAX went up 1.36%. Tough to beat that, and you're not going to beat that YMAG because YMAG only went up 0.91%. So YMAX for the win yet again because they're YMAX and they're whooping ass everywhere. It's hard to compete with them. They got Misty. If you got Misty, you're running the show. All right, so what we have here, we got a couple tabs here to go through. We got the yield war. Who is going to win? Who pays the highest yield? So what I do here is I highlight the highest yields. But first, we'll compare, the categories. QQQ, but, for the most part, Defiance will always pay a higher yield than Roundhill. And that's proven. QQQY, 35% yield. QDTE, 28% yield. Okay. So there you go. There's the nod. WDTE, a little closer. They pay 25%. XDTE, 22%. IWMY, they paid 40%. This is just this week, though, by the way. RDTE paid 32.4%. So, yes, Defiance in all cases did yield more this week versus Roundhill. YMAX and YMAG, oh, my God, domination. YMAX, 66% yield. YMAG, 72% yield. And as you know, I highlight the top 3. So, number 1 this week coming in, YMAG. Good job, YMAG. Number 2, YMAX. Again, so YMAG 72%, YMAX 66%. Number 3, IWMY has been in the top 3 every single freaking week for 9 weeks since I've been covering it with a 40% yield. So congrats, IWMY, for always having a consistently high yield. And I do have these averages, which I do look at towards the end, but, we'll go from there. We'll do that at the end. Let's move on. Let's go to the NAV war. All right. Everyone loves their NAV, right? Let's take a look at the NAV. All right. So who won the NAV war? Nasdaq, this is when we had the indexes back. The Nasdaq, oh, man, they whooped that asses. Nasdaq went up 3.27%. QQQY went up 1.41%. Ew. QDTE went up 2.37%. So QDTE went up more than QQQY, but Nasdaq whooped them. All right, S&P went up 0.96% this week. So who won here? WDTE went up 0.95%. Good job keeping up with the index. But XDTE said, you know what? I'm up 1.36%. So XDTE, good job. You beat the index. You beat WDTE. All right. Now, Russell, you went down for the week. You went down 1.05%. IWMY actually ended up being flat. Formula even right? Yeah, I guess it is. All right. No, it ended up being flat. So I guess that's a win considering the index went down. RDTE, you went down 0.75%. So although RDTE, good job, you did beat the index You did lose to IWMY, though. That stayed flat. Last but not least, the two dominators. What can you say? YMAX and YMAG. YMAX went up 4.19%. Oh, my God. YMAG went up even more, 4.21%. So, again, domination. So, the top three are, again, YMAG is first place. YMAX is second place. And third place is the Nasdaq. Yes, we include indexes for this NAV war. The Nasdaq did go up 3.27%. All right, total return war. What the heck is this? So all this does, it compares, since I've been tracking on October 4th, the price increase plus distribution payouts in order to track total return from October 4th. And yes, I include the indexes, but I do not include dividends that are paid out of the indexes. And I know that's not fair for the indexes, but let's be real. The underlyings that are paying, they ain't paying much. They ain't much. But I know it does matter, but it's an unfair advantage, but it is what it is. I'm not going to sit here and count dividends for an index. So anyway, let's move on. It's more about the comparison of the funds versus the index anyway. So total return, QDTE, again, they're so far ahead. I mean, Defiance ain't even going to catch them, but it's still good to look at. But total return, QDTE, they're up 7.28% total return. The Nasdaq is up 7.92%. So the Nasdaq is up slightly. QQQY is up 3.65%. All right, XDTE still has the nod on WDTE. It's up 5.67%. WDTE is up 3.2%. The index did beat both, though. The S&P is up 5.9%. Up next is Russell. The Russell, the Russell's dominating. The Russell went up 8.8%. Wow. 8.87%. Roundhill RDTE did go up 7.81%, which is really good, but IWMY only captured 2.28%. That's unfortunate because, again, the big up days, there's nothing you could do. Roundhill does a lot better than Defiance on the big up days. And then we look at YMAX and YMAG, and we compare the MAGs. The MAGs is really a comparison to YMAG. YMAX is in its own little world, So let's take a look. The MAGs has gone up 15.98% in total return. YMAX, oh my God. Well, forget YMAX for now. YMAG, you went up 12.7%. So you could not compete with the MAGs. The MAGs didn't whoop your ass, I guess. The MAGs beat you by 3%. All right, YMAX, pretty much as expected, beat everyone. Total return, 16.71%. Keep in mind, on October 4th, YMAX was 1760 as of the Friday before this video, which, what's today's date? Today is December 7th. So obviously I'm recording this, I'm talking about December 6th close price. YMAX was 1865. So it's up $1.05 in price, plus it paid $1.89 in distributions. So the total return, this is without drip, 16.71%. I mean, this fund has been pretty damn good. As you know, it dropped. People were getting worried. But since then, YMAX has some pretty interesting funds in there, including SIMC, right? SMCY, which I believe, talked to Michael Venuto the other day from Tidal. I believe they added SIMC at the right time, from what he's told me. So that's pretty good. They didn't add it before the big drop. I think they added it like after it happened. The timing ended up working out. So you got that. You got Platy for Palantir doing well. I know Murny's holding it down, but there's not many losers. It's really just Murny. Outside of that, I mean, what are the other losers we'd want kicked out of YMAX? Maybe that's a question for Jay. All right, so last but not least, we have the ALM war. What is ALM? Assets under management. It's how big the fund is. So if we look, who's growing? It's important to be in a fund that's still growing. QQQY continues to go down. It went down 75,000 outstanding shares. QDTE did increase by 520,000 outstanding shares. So, this is nothing new. We've been seeing this happen week over week. WDTE, no change, no additional shares, no decline. XDTE, though, we had an increase of 170,000 outstanding shares. Next, IWMY, no change, unless the website was not updated, of course. RDTE, 400,000 additional outstanding shares. So again, Roundhill continues to grow. That's the story. Then you got YMAX and YMAG, putting everyone to shame. 6.3 million additional outstanding shares. I mean, the YMAX fund is growing for sure. YMAG, an additional 775,000. Wow. Wow, wow. Wow on both cases. Wow on all cases, right? The only one that went down is QQQY. Now look at this. Someone has reached $1 billion. Roundhill, between those three funds, they are worth over $1 billion. So congratulations to Roundhill. If anyone from Roundhill is watching, we give you guys props. You created a monster and you deserve it. And you know, like we say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So keep doing what you're doing. It's working. Defiance, you may have to revisit, you know, what you're doing, your strategy. Obviously, you still have a big, you know, these funds are still big, 391 mil. Nothing, you know, nothing to slouch at here. But, you know, you're losing, I think you're losing investors to Roundhill because of the overnight. I don't think people like that we're not taking advantage of, you know, all of the upside on the overnights, because after hours, what happens after hours, guys? Earnings, right? So if you have good earnings, you know, I mean, if you have bad earnings, we're going to capture the downside anyway. So what's the difference, right? I know we do capture more time value for the overnights on the premium. So there's that. So on the flat days, yeah, we win. And, but again, I don't know. It's just something to think about. I do plan on having Sylvia back on the show just to talk about some things, especially her double leverage funds. And I'm very interested in those funds with my new options, you know, my option strategy. YieldMax, look at them. They're about to hit a bill. They're at 831 mil. Wow. But again, keep in mind, YieldMax only has two funds. If I added a third YieldMax fund, forget it. They'd be whooping everyone. So let's give Roundhill some props for hitting $1 billion. Now we have the finals. All this is, as mentioned before, it takes the average yield from that, you know, from the yield war. And then it takes the total NAV, which is from the NAV war. And then you could see, and I'll go through each one. QQQY, average yield 42.8%. Total NAV appreciation 3.9%. This is from 10/4, by the way, October 4th. QDTE, average yield 30%. Total NAV appreciation 7.4%. WDTE, average yield 33.9%. Total NAV appreciation 3.3%. XDTE, average yield 21.6%. Total NAV appreciation 5.7%. IWMY, average yield 52.9%. Total NAV appreciation 2.5%. RDTE, average yield 35.9%. Total NAV appreciation 8.1%. YMAX, average yield 60.97%. Yes, you heard that right, 60.97%. I mean, you could thank Misty for that pretty much. Total NAV appreciation 16.67%. YMAG 49.78%. Awesome, man. Total NAV appreciation 12.8%. So, what do you guys think? Are we impressed, or is this business as usual? Any eye openers? I mean, again, I appreciate all of these funds. These funds do different things. So in my account, as most of you see in the dividend car account, I own all 8 of these funds, and all 8 of these, they pay me a weekly paycheck every single week. And what do I do with that money? Well, I reinvest some and I pay bills with the others. So these funds are paying my bills. Not all of them, but they will be paying all of them. In fact, I didn't even mention this in another video, but my goal for 2025, I'm going to have all my bills go through my brokerage. All of them, you know, all of them. So I'm working on that. In fact, I'm going to work on that as soon as possible. So I may have that done in early 2025, actually. Why? Because this is how I'm going to live. I'm going to live off my brokerage, right? I'm not going to have an income, an active income. So I need to be able to afford to pay my bills. I need to know how to pay my bills on my brokerage, number one, and I need to be able to afford it. So in the meantime, what is my work income going to pay? You know, it's going to pay everyday expenses, everyday, you know, lifestyle. And it's going to pay off my credit card, which is a little large right now. I'm not going to lie. So I got some work on that. I got to pay it off. And then once that's done, obviously, if I'm making more money than I need in that account, I'll put the excess money into the brokerage, which is great. And then eventually I'll realize, okay, I'm good. You know, my brokerage more than pays off my bills. You know, my safety net is more than enough, and then I can officially retire. Will I retire? Probably not. But I just want to be able to say my income, I don't need my income. I just want to be able to say that. I don't need work income. If I left my job tomorrow, it wouldn't even freaking matter. That's all I want to do. I still have to work. I'm one of those people that has to work, but I just don't know what type of work. Will I stay at my full-time job? Maybe. Will I get a part-time job? Maybe. Again, I just want the options. And I haven't had the options, nor did I ever think I'd be in this position years ago. And I'm very appreciative to be in this position soon. I'm not in this position yet. Soon. Close. I'm very close. Anyway, as always, none of this is financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. This video is for fun and entertainment. So hopefully you had fun. Hopefully you're entertained. If not, we will try again next week. Again, I make this series and I post it every Saturday afternoon. And I hope you guys enjoy it, because I enjoy making this video. I have a blast. I love all these funds. I think they're awesome. These weren't out many years ago, and the fact that they're out, these funds are changing people's lives. I know a lot of people knock these funds, but those are the people that they can't change. Like they're so stuck in the world of the old school investor, which is, you buy a blue chip stock, you collect that little blue chip dividend, and you get your dividend increase year over year, and you're so happy about it. But those days are gone. I'm sorry, guys. Those days are gone. I was the dividend growth investing mindset. But these came out. I said, peace, I'm out, brother. I'm on the train of high yield. I'm also kind of a degenerate, so maybe it was easy for me to change. But here we go. I love it. Do you guys love these funds like me? Anyway, if you enjoy this content, please hit the like button. It's awesome if you do. It helps the channel. I want to grow this channel. I do. I want this channel to be around even when I retire. This is a forever channel. I plan on it. I enjoy making content. So if I don't have a full-time job, obviously I can make all different types of content, I hope, throughout the day. One day, hopefully I get to that point. So hitting like gets me there that faster. If you have any questions or concerns, leave them down below. Outside of that, I got nothing. I usually do a keyword in the mornings, but I won't do a keyword. But again, does any fund surprise you when I made this video? And not just this video, but all the other videos. Is any fund an eye-opener that you thought, okay, this fund sucked, it's better than I thought, or I thought this fund was awesome and it sucks? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm just curious. All right, I think I'm out of here. I'm sweating my ass off in the car. Let me get back inside to the chaos, and I'll talk to you guys next week on the next one. All right, have a good one. Later.